Hi again, everyone. I've calmed down from last episode, and I'm now here to talk about the good path with Chapter 17a. So yeah, this is another pretty huge map, and there's tons of stuff to do and to prepare for. Let's break it all down. From your starting point in the bottom left, you must make it up the hills of Lenster Castle to the west gate. While the enemies on the open field are very sparse, there are several major and minor forces to deal with. The Dark Mages on the West Mountain, the group of Pegasi Knights led by Misha, a detachment of 15 armors across the Southern River, a group of 10 Mage Knights that will spawn right at your starting point on turn 12, enemy green pirates spawning from turn 3 to 8 that go for the houses, and a rewarping Dark Mage that periodically spawns here from turn 10 to 20. Aside from the bishops and pirates, all of them will stay in place until turn 10 or if provoked. On that turn, Sias will show up and bring his 10 leadership stars to give every enemy plus 30 hit and avoid, and the Pegasi armors will advance on you, with the bridge being dropped across the river for the later. This can all wreak havoc if you aren't prepared, but as I'll show, you should be able to deal with most of these threats before Sias even enters the picture, so let's get started on that. For your loadout, you will need a lot of specific items: a Silence, Restore, and Sleep Staff, Karen, Dean, and for good measure, you may want to bring Finn and Glade to combat the enemy's innate leadership stars. Right away, whip out the Silent Staff and block Bishop Moore's magic. With this, he will be unable to warp the mages to you, meaning you can pick up a full-use Fortify and Warp by capturing him. With this, you'll also want to send Karen and Dean north to deal with the mages and Pegasi, but stay out of Misha's range as she is a recruitable ally with some specific requirements. As you are doing this, move the rest of your forces along the logical path to the center plains. Having any unit cross the river north of your start will cause the Pegasi to descend, and once they do, clear a path to allow Karen to reach and speak to Misha. This is step 1 to her recruitment. You must then put her to sleep with either a sleep staff or sword so you can capture her. Then, like Leaf's Intrude, you just have to hold on to her until the chapter is over. Misha is yet another reason why the A route is just so much better. All of B's unique units suck diddly dick, and not only do you get Sleuth on A, you also get a pretty great Paladin, and this here Flyer of Misha. Misha isn't anywhere near as good as Dean, and will likely be weaker than a trained Karen, but she has great weapon ranks, an okay PCC of 2, and a nice move star. That being said, the golden age of 776 flying has almost ended by now, which limits Misha to being just a good unit as opposed to a great unit. But there's always room for any good flyer in any Fire Emblem army. Right, so with the Pegasi hopefully taken care of now, you must clear out the Dark Mages on the mountain, as by visiting the church there is how you get Sarah in the A route. She's exactly the same here, so if you want a primer on Sarah, I'll leave an annotation for that part of the video in chapter 16b. Just know that you'll have to rescue her flyer down from the building. If you've been following this so far, you're probably around turn 6, 7, or 8 with the Mages, Pegasi, and Center Plains cleared, and the houses almost, if not fully visited for all their items. You now have two options. If you're feeling brave like I am here, set up adjacent to the river by the armors. Otherwise, gather all your forces in the forest flanked by the two mountains, and just wait until turn 10. As previously stated, Sias will show up, and the armors will advance. Even with an extra 30 hit and avoid, the armors shouldn't really be that hard if you have a good support phalanx, and especially with the Pegasi pincer move subdued. But, to be on the safe side, you can wait in the North Forest for just 4 turns, as Sias will leave at the start of the turn 15 enemy phase, and with that, all of the enemy's extra hit and evade. And, in those 4 turns, the armors and Mage Knights will definitely not be able to reach you. Sias does, however, bring a Sleep and Fortify staff, and will very likely put your units to bed, so either keep them safe or wake them up over Restore. Regardless, when Sias leaves, you can begin your real offensive. If you fought the armors right away, it's easy to swing to the other side of the bridge and use that as your defensive line. Or you can just continue sticking to the forest and lure the knights as close as you can and engage them. Just don't fight them when Sias is around. They're actually dangerous enough on their own since each packs a thorn, and you may want to holy water your troops up beforehand. But once the armors and knights are gone, the rest of the chapter should be a breeze. You should know by now how to deal with the ballista, and if you feel up to it, try to capture the armors for their killer axes and the left bishop for his bolting. The boss is a pretty bog standard big dude with lots of nice weapons, just with 20 build preventing a capture. He should fall pretty easily as well. Once you're done, just have Leaf capture the throne to end the chapter. Next time, we finish off the bad route with Ballista, 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 and more Ballista. Just great.